Welcome to Celestial Zodiac, your home for clear and grounded astrology. In the first two parts of our Saturn and Aries series, we explored the major collective shift taking place as Saturn leaves Pisces and enters Aries, along with the ways this powerful transit may affect identity, leadership, survival mentality, career, relationships, boundaries, burnout, and personal growth. In this video, we're taking a closer look at how Saturn and Aries may affect each zodiac sign individually over the next few years. Saturn is the planet of discipline, responsibility, maturity, pressure, and long-term growth. It slows things down, tests stability, and pushes us to grow through patience, effort, and experience. Aries, on the other hand, represents action, independence, courage, leadership, survival, and self-definition. As Saturn moves through Aries, each zodiac sign will experience a different area of life being challenged, strengthened, and restructured over time. For some signs, Saturn in Aries may bring lessons involving identity, career, relationships, or personal ambition. For others, this transit may work more internally, triggering emotional growth, spiritual restructuring, or the need to confront fears and limitations that can no longer be avoided. While Saturn transits can feel heavy at times, they are ultimately designed to help us build stronger foundations, greater resilience, and long-term stability. Over the next few years, Saturn and Aries may challenge each sign to become more disciplined, self-reliant, emotionally mature, and intentional about the direction their life is taking. Although these interpretations may resonate most strongly with your sun sign, many astrologers also recommend checking your rising sign for additional insight. Saturn's lessons usually unfold gradually over time rather than all at once. Now let's take a closer look at how Saturn entering Aries may affect each of the 12 zodiac signs individually. For Aries, Saturn entering your sign marks the beginning of a major personal growth cycle focused on identity, independence, discipline, and long-term self-reinvention. Saturn moving through your first house may push you to become more serious about who you are, what you want, and the direction your life is taking. Many Aries individuals may feel pressure to mature quickly, take greater responsibility for themselves, and confront insecurities or weaknesses they've avoided in the past. Because Aries normally moves quickly and impulsively, Saturn's slower energy can feel frustrating at times. Some Aries may struggle with self-doubt, exhaustion, isolation, or delays that force greater patience and discipline. However, this transit is ultimately designed to help Aries build lasting confidence rather than temporary confidence. Aries may become far more selective about where they invest their energy and less willing to tolerate draining or misaligned situations involving health, relationships, career, or personal goals. While demanding at times, Saturn in Aries has the potential to create tremendous resilience, leadership ability, self-mastery, and long-term personal growth. For Taurus, Saturn in Aries becomes a far more internal and psychological transit focused on emotional healing, spiritual restructuring, endings, and confronting fears or unresolved emotional baggage. Saturn moving through this area of the chart can create the feeling that an old chapter is slowly fading away, even if the full picture is not yet clear. Many Taurus individuals may withdraw emotionally at times as they process exhaustion, grief, isolation, subconscious fears, or hidden emotional patterns. This period may force Taurus to confront unhealthy coping mechanisms, emotional avoidance, escapism, or weak emotional boundaries while rebuilding emotional strength and inner stability. Some Tauruses may feel drawn towards spirituality, therapy, meditation, solitude, or deeper healing work during this transit. Although this period can feel heavy or isolating at times, Saturn in Aries is ultimately preparing Taurus for a major cycle of personal growth and self-reinvention in the future by helping them clear emotional clutter and strengthen themselves internally first. For Gemini, Saturn in Aries brings important lessons involving friendships, social circles, networking, long-term goals, and the future direction of your life. Over the next few years, many Geminis may begin re-evaluating the people they surround themselves with and whether those relationships truly align with their long-term growth and values. Saturn tends to reduce superficiality, so some friendships or group connections may naturally fade away if they no longer feel supportive or authentic. At the same time, Saturn in Aries encourages Gemini to become more focused and disciplined about long-term goals rather than scattering energy across too many interests or constantly changing direction. This transit may help Gemini develop greater consistency around career ambitions, creative projects, leadership roles, or future planning. Socially, Gemini may become more selective about who they trust and invest time in while gradually replacing superficial connections with more mature and meaningful relationships. Saturn in Aries ultimately teaches Gemini how to build a stronger future through patience, discipline, authentic connections, and long-term purpose rather than endless distraction. For Cancer, Saturn in Aries strongly impacts career, ambition, leadership, public reputation, and overall life direction. Over the next few years, many Cancers may feel increasing pressure to become more disciplined, focused, and serious about the path they are building for themselves. This transit often pushes Cancer to stop remaining overly comfortable in situations that no longer provide long-term security, purpose, or growth. Career responsibilities may intensify during this period. Some Cancers may experience heavier workloads, leadership pressure, career restructuring, or major long-term changes involving work, education, or personal goals. Saturn in Aries encourages Cancer to become more independent, confident, and self-directed professionally rather than relying too heavily on reassurance or outside validation. Because Cancer is naturally sensitive and emotionally protective, this transit can feel emotionally overwhelming at times. Burnout, stress, fear of failure, or anxiety surrounding success and reputation may become important themes to manage carefully. However, Saturn in Aries also has tremendous potential to help Cancer build stronger confidence, leadership skills, discipline, and long-term success. Over time, many Cancers may emerge from this transit feeling far more empowered, respected, and capable of building something meaningful for the future. For Leo, Saturn in Aries activates themes involving expansion, higher learning, travel, belief systems, and long-term vision for the future. Over the next few years, many Leos may begin re-evaluating what they truly believe in and whether the direction they are moving toward genuinely aligns with their deeper values and purpose. Saturn in Aries challenges Leo to become more disciplined and realistic about long-term goals rather than relying only on passion, confidence, or inspiration. This transit may place strong focus on education, certifications, teaching, publishing, spirituality, media, travel, or developing expertise in a meaningful area. Some Leos may feel called to pursue something with greater long-term purpose and impact, while others may begin questioning old beliefs or ambitions that no longer reflect who they are becoming. Saturn in Aries may also bring delays, restrictions, or reality checks that force greater patience, preparation, and long-term commitment. Rather than relying solely on charisma or natural confidence, Leo may need to prove themselves through persistence, discipline, and real-world experience. Over time, this transit can help Leo develop greater wisdom, resilience, inner authority, and a much clearer understanding of the legacy they want to build. For Virgo, Saturn in Aries activates deep themes involving transformation, emotional vulnerability, trust, shared resources, intimacy, and psychological healing. This transit may bring periods of intense emotional growth and force Virgo to confront fears surrounding control, dependency, trust, loss, or emotional exposure that can no longer be avoided. Many Virgos may become more aware of emotional patterns involving fear, overthinking, anxiety, self-protection, or the need to maintain control in situations where vulnerability feels uncomfortable. Saturn in Aries may expose relationship imbalances, emotional dependencies, financial entanglements, or unresolved psychological wounds that require healing and restructuring over time. Financial matters involving debt, loans, taxes, investments, inheritance, or shared resources may also become more serious during this transit. Virgo may feel pressure to establish stronger financial boundaries and become more emotionally and financially independent. Emotionally, this transit can feel heavy because it pushes Virgo into deeper emotional territory that cannot simply be solved through logic, perfectionism, or overanalysis. Some Virgos may go through therapy, shadow work, emotional healing, or major inner transformation during this cycle. Ultimately, Saturn in Aries teaches Virgo how to develop deeper emotional resilience, healthier trust, stronger boundaries, and greater personal empowerment over time. For Libra, Saturn in Aries strongly impacts relationships, partnerships, commitment, boundaries, and the balance between independence and connection. Because Aries sits opposite Libra in the Zodiac, this transit may feel especially important for Libras over the next few years. Saturn moving through this area of the chart often brings serious lessons involving emotional maturity, accountability, and relationship dynamics. Many Libras may begin re-evaluating whether their relationships are truly healthy, balanced, and supportive. Saturn in Aries may expose unhealthy patterns involving people-pleasing, emotional dependency, avoidance of conflict, weak boundaries, or sacrificing personal needs to maintain peace or approval. At the same time, this transit encourages Libra to become more assertive, independent, and direct in relationships. Libra naturally seeks harmony and compromise, but Saturn in Aries teaches that avoiding conflict at all costs can eventually create resentment, imbalance, or emotional suppression. Many Libras may learn important lessons about speaking up for themselves, setting stronger boundaries, and expressing personal needs more confidently and honestly. For some Libras, Saturn in Aries may bring major relationship milestones such as commitment, marriage, separation, partnership restructuring, or re-evaluating the role relationships play within their life, including business partnerships and collaborations. Spiritually, this transit teaches Libra how to balance healthy independence with meaningful connection while developing stronger self-respect, emotional boundaries, and relationships built on honesty, equality, and accountability. For Scorpio, Saturn in Aries activates themes involving work, daily routines, productivity, physical health, discipline, stress management, and long-term self-improvement. Over the next few years, many Scorpios may feel increasing pressure to become more organized, disciplined, and intentional about how they manage their time, energy, responsibilities, and overall well-being. Saturn moving through this area of the chart often forces people to confront habits or lifestyles that have become exhausting, unhealthy, or unsustainable over time. Work and career responsibilities may intensify during this transit through heavier workloads, leadership pressure, increased expectations, or the need to completely restructure daily routines and long-term habits. Some Scorpios may also make major changes involving jobs, schedules, or lifestyles that contribute to chronic stress, burnout, or emotional exhaustion. Saturn in Aries teaches Scorpio the importance of sustainable discipline and learning how to work smarter rather than simply surviving through constant pressure. Health becomes a major focus during this transit as Scorpio may become more aware of the physical effects of stress, overwork, emotional tension, fatigue, inflammation, poor routines, or neglecting self-care. Saturn in Aries encourages greater discipline around exercise, sleep, nutrition, mental health, and creating healthier daily structures that support long-term well-being. Emotionally, this transit may challenge Scorpio's tendency to push beyond healthy limits or maintain control through intensity and constant pressure. Saturn in Aries teaches that true strength includes balance, rest, consistency, and emotional regulation rather than endless endurance or self-sacrifice. Over time, this transit can help Scorpio build a far stronger foundation physically, emotionally, mentally, and professionally through healthier routines, stronger self-discipline, and greater long-term stability. For Sagittarius, Saturn in Aries activates themes involving creativity, self-expression, romance, confidence, passion, and personal fulfillment. Over the next few years, many Sagittarians may feel challenged to take their talents, creative goals, and personal ambitions more seriously rather than treating them as temporary interests or passing inspiration. Saturn moving through this area of the chart encourages greater discipline around creativity, joy, and the things that genuinely bring meaning and fulfillment. This transit may push Sagittarius to become more intentional about self-expression and where emotional energy is invested. Some Sagittarians may feel pressure to turn creative passions into something more structured or long-term, while others may confront fears surrounding visibility, vulnerability, or failure when pursuing something deeply personal. Saturn in Aries teaches Sagittarius that confidence is built through persistence, commitment, and experience rather than optimism alone. Romantic relationships may also become more serious during this transit, with a stronger desire for honesty, accountability, and emotional maturity rather than relationships lacking depth or stability. Emotionally, Saturn in Aries challenges Sagittarius to become more disciplined about risk-taking, impulsiveness, or constantly chasing freedom without considering long-term consequences. Ultimately, this transit encourages Sagittarius to build lasting confidence through disciplined self-expression, authentic creativity, emotional growth, and meaningful personal fulfillment rather than relying solely on excitement or constant movement. For Capricorn, Saturn in Aries activates deeply personal themes involving home, family, emotional foundations, security, and private life. Since Saturn is Capricorn's ruling planet, Capricorns often feel Saturn transits very strongly, and this particular transit may bring major emotional and domestic restructuring over the next few years. Many Capricorns may feel increasing pressure to create stronger emotional stability and security within their personal life. Family responsibilities, housing situations, emotional boundaries, caregiving roles, or unresolved family dynamics may require serious attention and long-term changes. Some Capricorns may move, relocate, renovate, purchase property, or completely reevaluate what emotional security and home truly mean to them. Saturn in Aries may also force Capricorn to confront emotional vulnerabilities often hidden beneath ambition, self-control, or emotional restraint. While Capricorn naturally focuses on responsibility and external achievement, this transit encourages deeper emotional honesty and the need to build stronger internal foundations rather than relying only on productivity or career success for stability and self-worth. At times, this transit may feel emotionally heavy or isolating, especially if old family wounds or difficult responsibilities begin surfacing more intensely. Some Capricorns may struggle to balance career pressure with emotional needs and private responsibilities. However, Saturn in Aries ultimately teaches Capricorn how to build greater emotional resilience, healthier boundaries, stronger family foundations, and a deeper sense of inner security over time. For Aquarius, Saturn in Aries activates communication, learning, mindset, networking, daily interactions, and the way you process and share information. Over the next few years, many Aquarians may feel increasing pressure to become more disciplined, focused, and intentional in how they think, speak, and communicate. Saturn moving through this area of the chart often slows things down mentally and encourages greater clarity, structure, and maturity in thinking patterns. This transit may challenge Aquarius to confront scattered mental energy, anxiety, communication issues, emotional detachment, or negative thinking patterns. Saturn in Aries encourages Aquarians to think more carefully before speaking, communicate more strategically, and take intellectual goals, learning, or skill development more seriously over time. Education, writing, speaking, teaching, media, technology, certifications, content creation, or communication-based careers may become important areas of growth and responsibility during this cycle. Some Aquarians may pursue expertise in a particular field or become increasingly focused on mastering a specific skill or area of knowledge. Relationships with siblings, neighbors, or close social connections may also undergo reevaluation as Saturn reduces superficial interactions and encourages more mature, stable, and meaningful communication dynamics. Although this transit may occasionally feel mentally overwhelming or isolating, it ultimately helps Aquarius develop clearer thinking, stronger communication skills, greater focus, and more lasting intellectual discipline over time. For Pisces, Saturn in Aries activates finances, self-worth, personal resources, stability, survival, values, and long-term security. After Saturn recently spent several years moving through Pisces itself, many Pisces individuals may already feel emotionally exhausted, transformed, or more aware of personal responsibilities and limitations. Now, Saturn begins shifting focus toward rebuilding confidence, stability, and long-term security through discipline and practical action. Over the next few years, many Pisces may feel increasing pressure around money, budgeting, financial responsibility, career stability, or the need to become more independent and self-sufficient. Saturn in Aries encourages Pisces to become more realistic and disciplined about managing resources, building income and creating long-term security. Financial lessons may unfold gradually, requiring patience, maturity, and careful planning over time. This transit also strongly affects self-worth and confidence. Pisces may begin questioning whether they truly value themselves enough to ask for what they deserve, establish stronger boundaries, or stop emotionally sacrificing themselves for situations that drain them. Saturn in Aries teaches Pisces how to develop healthier survival instincts, stronger self-respect, and greater confidence in their ability to create stability independently. Emotionally, Pisces may struggle between old tendencies toward escape, avoidance, or uncertainty and the new pressure to become more proactive, disciplined, and grounded in reality. While uncomfortable at first, this transit ultimately helps Pisces build stronger financial, emotional, and psychological foundations through maturity, self-reliance, and realistic self-belief. Overall, Saturn entering Aries marks the beginning of a major new chapter focused on discipline, courage, independence, emotional maturity, and long-term personal growth. While this transit may feel demanding at times, it also carries enormous potential for resilience, leadership, transformation, and rebuilding stronger foundations for the future. Saturn's lessons are rarely quick or easy. They unfold gradually through experience, patience, responsibility, and perseverance over time. But ultimately, Saturn rewards those who are willing to face reality honestly, grow through challenges, and continue moving forward with maturity and determination. Although this transit may test us, it also has the power to help us become stronger, wiser, and more self-aware versions of ourselves over the next few years. Thank you for watching Celestial Zodiac. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay connected with future astrology forecasts, seasonal events, zodiac readings, and collective energy updates. Until next time, stay grounded, stay aware, and keep looking to the stars.